Whitley. Good morning, Your Honor. I can't hear him and he can't hear me. Good morning, Your Honor.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now, Ann?
Yes, sir, I can.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just trying to get this other computer set up. Well, I'm gonna have to use something else to flash. Yes, I can't get it to work for some reason. Always does it on Monday, I think, because everything shuts down. I got it right here. All right, we should be good to go now. Okay, so let's see. It's a contested docket this morning. We've got, I'll just go down the docket and take announcements. And the first one is State of Texas versus Randall Gamble. Mr. Green, what are we doing on that? Motion to increase? I'm sorry?
We have pleas worked out.
Oh, outstanding. Y'all need a few minutes or?
I just signed papers.
Gotcha.
Go on the side.
Okay. And then next is Miss Thompson. We've got a writ seeking bond reduction. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. And is this Miss Muse over here? All right, I'll go ahead and call it then. You can come up, Miss Muse. This is CV 21-0130-173 ex parte Kristen and Muse. And this is set today for a writ of habeas corpus seeking bond reduction on behalf of the applicant. Ms. Thompson, are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
All right, Ms. Muse, stand a little right over here. So, all right, then come up a little bit. Don't be shy. That way this camera right here can see you and then Ms. Thompson can see you. And then on behalf of the state.
State's ready.
And Ms. Thompson, are we going to hear testimony from your client for the limited purposes of bail?
Yes, sir, we are.
All right, now, Ms. Muse, you can raise your right hand best you can. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand and you can look up there while Ms. Thompson's questioning you. Go ahead, Ms. Thompson.
Miss Muse, you understand we're just here today for a bond hearing. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not trial. Do you have a job?
No, ma'am, I am on Social Security disability for 2 spinal injuries.
What kind of disability? What's your disability?
I've had 2 spinal surgeries for an injury that I had horseback riding.
Okay.
I was supposed to have a 3rd surgery March 23rd.
Okay. Where are you supposed to live at if you were able to get bond reduced and get out of jail?
With my mother.
And where is that?
Is in Trinidad. It's 287.
Okay. Do you know the address?
Yes, ma'am. 2874 State Highway. 2873 State Highway 274, Trinidad, Texas.
Okay. How long have you lived in Henderson County?
About a year. I've moved here after a separation with my husband.
Okay. Do you have any kind of car or transportation?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car do you have?
2001 Cadillac DeVille.
Is it running?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it mortgaged?
Is it what?
Do you owe on it?
It's paid off.
Okay. Have you tried to sell it to try to make bond?
I don't have anybody to help me make my bond. I was hoping to get a ROR, or return on my own recognizances, because my mother is actually the one that called the sheriff on me that day, so she will not help me.
Okay.
As far
How,
as talking-
okay, just answer my questions if you can, just yes or no, okay? Ms. Muse, how would you get to court? Would it be by this vehicle?
Yes, ma'am, I would use my vehicle.
Okay. Have you tried to contact the bondsman and ask them what it would take to make bond on what it currently is?
Yes, ma'am.
And what have they told you?
That I need my mother to text them a picture of my debit card that she is in possession of, because I have the funds on my card. However, my mom has disconnected her number and will not speak with me, so I can't. My
Okay.
hands are tied.
All right. Have you been ever handled for escape or failure to appear?
No, ma'am.
Are you asking this court for a PR bond here today so that you can get out and get access to your credit cards and your car and a job?
Yes, ma'am.
I see the red.
Past witness, Your Honor.
State.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Muse, do you plan on living in Texas permanently?
I do.
And you said you've been here about a year.
Yes.
And what is your current driver's license? Where is that issued out of?
Shelby County, Tennessee.
And you have not,
Hold on, I missed that. Where?
Shelby County, Tennessee.
Shelby County? Okay.
and you have not obtained a Texas driver's license?
I have been waiting on a birth certificate that I had ordered through the mail in order to switch my license from Tennessee to Texas. My birth certificate should actually be at the house by now. I paid about $70 for it, for express shipping and everything. Everything else, mail, bills, my car is registered through Texas.
Nothing further. Your Honor.
Anything else, Ms. Thompson?
Yes, sir. I live back up here. Ms. Muse, you said you were scheduled for surgery on the 23rd of this month,
Yes, ma'am.
and you missed that surgery. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was for your spine. Is that also correct?
What was that?
Was that for your back?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
So it's a PCS, standard $8,500 bail.
It is, Your Honor, state jail.
Any prior criminal history?
I show an arrest and conviction for misdemeanor shoplifting out of Arizona.
You mind if I ask your client some questions unrelated to this charge?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Is it Muse? Am I saying that right? How did you get to, what are you doing in Trinidad? You've only been there a year. Trinidad's kind of an odd place for somebody to just move to from.
My dad is retired major from the Army.
He's a retired what?
Major.
Okay.
And he moved out here with a new engineering job. And so this is where my parents are. And I'm separated from my husband. We used to live in Tennessee. And because my parents moved out here, I moved out here. because
Why were you in Tennessee?
That's where my husband's family was.
Okay.
And so I'm just looking for a fresh start.
So you were an Army brat?
Army and Navy.
Right. Anybody have any redirect or cross based upon my questions of it?
No, Your Honor.
I guess my concern is if I grant her a PR bond, I mean, is your father here?
My stepdad.
Your stepdad? So he's here? So if you said your mom won't let you in or contact you or let you contact her, where are you going to go if you get out of jail?
There's two houses on the property. I do pay rent on my house.
Okay.
It's separate from theirs.
All right. Anything else?
Nothing further. Your Honor.
All right, then I'm going to grant the request for a PR bond and so the writ's granted, bond set at $8,500 PR bond. Ms. Muse, I am going to put conditions of bond on you. I'm going to tell you, if you have a substance abuse problem, you moved to the wrong place. I'll just tell you that. Especially some places in Trinidad can be pretty well-known for hanging out, or people that have substance abuse problems to hang out. So be careful. Your conditions of bond are no alcohol, no drugs that are not prescribed, no marijuana, and no illegal drugs. And I know marijuana is legal in some states, but it's illegal in Texas, okay?
Yes, sir.
All righty. And if you are indicted, make sure you stay in touch with whoever your bond's gonna be. Well, you won't have a bond, so it's a PR bond, but stay in touch with your attorney.
Okay.
All righty.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
And I'll sign the order.
Yeah,
Y'all
that's
get-
all I have, maybe. That's all I have, maybe. Excuse, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good luck to you, Miss Muse.
Thank you, sir.
What's today's date? 392. And this is styled the state of Texas versus $1,982.00 in United States currency and motherboards. So let's see, and the defendants named in the case are Sahil Kareem Hajiani and Raheen Hajiani. Is there a Sahil or a Raheen Hajiani in the courtroom?
There's also a Catherine Lee Campbell.
Oh, and Catherine Lee Campbell is another named defendant. Is there a Catherine Lee Campbell in the courtroom? Is there a Catherine Lee Campbell appearing via Zoom, or a Sahil or Raheen Hayani? Am I saying that correctly? Can you check in the lobby?
I did, there was no answer.
Okay. And so is the state ready?
The state's ready, Your Honor.
All right, and I'll let you proceed then.
Thank you, Judge. The state filed a motion for forfeiture in this case regarding search warrant signed by this court, 2020-0204-392. In that search warrant, contraband was located, including currency, $1,982 in United States currency, and 4 motherboards and some keys that go to those motherboards. The currency is described more particularly in Schedule A, and the motherboards in Schedule B. We filed this motion and gave notice to the 3 parties called this morning. This court take judicial notice that they were served with certified bill, which was signed for, to give notice for the show cause hearing.
All right, and the court sees in the file the green cards have been returned, and so the court will take judicial notice of the return of service.
At this time, none of those parties are present, and we show no other interested parties in this contraband. Our position is that it is contraband and should not be returned. This time, on behalf of the sheriff's office, I would ask this court to forfeit Schedule A and Schedule B to the sheriff's office, as indicated in the motion. Order attached to that motion.
Is this to the sheriff's department, or is this to your agreement?
Since this is an 1818 outside of the agreement, we're going to go ahead and give for this court orders 100% to the sheriff.
I just didn't know, because typically when I get those orders, there's
They're usually like
a
7
split,
to 30.
right? All right, well then, first of all, the court finds that defendants have been properly served and notified of today's hearing and are not present. And the court has taken announcements, state announced ready. The court finds that the items listed in Schedule 1 and 2 are proceeds from illegal gambling.
Yes.
And then the court finds that the state, or that the sheriff's department represented by the state, is entitled to 100% of the proceeds, and grants the state's motion and orders that the $1,982 as well in U.S. currency, as well as the motherboards, are awarded 100% to the Henderson County Sheriff's Department. And I'll sign an order.
Thank you, Judge.
If y'all could send that order to the defendants, that way they know that this happened, and allow them to file whatever motions they want if they wish.
And we have that order. I think you submitted it to the court, but I have one.
Is it in there? I may have missed it. Just to show cause. I don't see that. Unless I'm missing it. Oh, it's right here. I had it. It wasn't tied down. I was
So in that order, we would just ask that no such person showed. And the difference,
Right.
Thank you. Nothing further from the rest of the.
Ready. So they were looking for this, somebody, I guess, called the clerk's office and were looking for the affidavit to the search warrant that I had signed. And Kevin gave me a copy, but were you involved in that? And so, and it was an original signature or a wet signature. And so I'm racking my brain trying to figure out, I don't remember signing this. And it was, I didn't put the year on it. And it just said that I'd done it during spring break. And Bowdy calls me and I'm like, Bowdy, I was on spring break. I did not sign a warrant. I don't remember anybody coming to the house. I don't remember signing one. I wasn't in the office, but it's my signature. I said, maybe it's last year. And he said, I don't think so. And I said, well, let me do this. And it was for saliva. I said, let me do this. I said, I have a Life 360. I said, for my kids and on my phone, I'll see if I even drove to Athens on that Tuesday. I start looking, and sure enough, I drove to Athens. I was only here around lunchtime, about an hour and a half. And I was like, I don't remember doing that. And then because it's spring break, it's spring break. And so I started thinking, I'm like, why did I? And then I noticed I went to Will's Point after. I went straight from there home to Will's Point. And then I thought, I did put a fire extinguisher up for my mother-in-law. And then it dawned on me, we had a kind of a off-the-cuff judges meeting that day. And the ranger had called me and said, hey, I got an out-of-county ranger that needs a search warrant. And they met me in the law library. But I could not remember that until I saw that I drove to Athens. I'm like, am I getting old or what? I didn't remember. Once I saw that I did, I was like, oh yeah.
I could use all the things, some you somebody. And then still there.
Spring break.
But it was just like, what, a couple weeks ago.
But Life 360 say, I know, I was like, I don't know about it. There's no way. I did not go to Athens. I know. And that's what I told him about something. I don't, saliva, I don't know. But sure enough. And once I saw, I was like, aha, I had that moment, like, I did. It's the ranger. He's like, the ranger. I would have never figured that out. Because he was racking his brain. He's like, I don't know. I don't know either. All right, let's see. Looks like we got some pleas ready then. Mr. Gamble, if you want to come on up. All right, these are cause number CR 18-0208 and CR 18-02010, CR 18-0209, and CR 18-0211-392, all styled the state of Texas versus Randall Lamar Gamble. This is set today on motions to increase bond. However, a plea on, I guess, two cases, is that correct? Or on one case?
Two cases, Your Honor.
On two cases, the 0208 and the 0210 have been presented to the court. Is the state ready? And on behalf of Mr. Gamble?
We're ready, Your Honor.
All right, sir, is your name Randall Lamar Gamble?
Yes, sir.
And are you the same person that was originally indicted by a Henderson County grand jury in this 0208 case in paragraph B of the second-degree felony offense of injury to a child?
Yes, sir.
And are you also the same person in this 0210 case in count 1 that was originally indicted by a Henderson County grand jury for the state jail felony offense of attempting to commit an assault of EMS personnel?
Yes, sir.
I get you to raise your right hand the best you can, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give now on trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can lower your hand. Mr. Gamble, can you read and write the English language?
Yes, sir.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
If it turns out you're not a U.S. citizen and you enter into this plea bargain with the state, it can have certain negative immigration consequences. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Gamble, have you ever been treated for any mental health or emotional issues?
No, sir.
You understand what's going on in here today?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Green, you believe your client is competent,
I do, Your Honor.
and the court's going to find that he is competent. Mr. Gamble, I know that it's been some time, but we have already arraigned you on these cases. However, would you like the prosecutor to read the indictments against you out loud here in the courtroom?
No, sir.
But do you understand the charges?
Yes, sir.
Well, as indicted, I need to see these indictments. Let me ask you all this. Was he originally charged in that count 1 with attempting to commit, or was it assault? I can't tell from the plea pack. Because I got to make sure I go over the right range of punishment here. Let's see, this is 0208.
I think it was attempting, Your Honor, but.
Okay. All right, so, and in this 0210 case, that state jail felony, that carries a punishment range of not less than 180 days, nor more than 2 years in a state jail felony facility, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that range of punishment?
Yes, sir.
In this 0208 case, that as charged is a second-degree felony. A second-degree felony carries a punishment range of not less than 2 years, nor more than 20 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand both those ranges of punishment
Yes, sir.
in the plea bargain in each of the cases?
Your Honor, in 0208, the state recommends 5 years deferred adjudication on paragraph B to include jail time credit of 874 days as of today, $299 in court costs, Crime Stoppers fee, drug testing, GED within 24 months, 200 hours of community service, substance abuse evaluation, and anger management. We also ask the court to consider the indicted causes CR 18-0209-392 and CR 18-0211-392. Unindicted cases, there's a misdemeanor. It's 2018-0528 CCL, theft of property from March 12th of 2018, and felony assault of a public servant from June 29th of 2020. And in the 0210 case, we ask the court to reduce that under 1244B to punish Mr. Gamble for 365 days in jail with time credit for 365 days, court cost of $299, and to consider count 2 of that same cause number.
Is that your understanding of the plea bargains, Mr. Gamble?
Yes, sir.
Is that your understanding, Mr. Green?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Gamble, a few minutes ago, I asked if you could read and write the English language, and you told me you could. I'm going to hold up a couple different documents and show you here. The first is the agreed plea recommendation. There's one for each case. Did you read and go over both the front and the back of each of those with Mr. Green?
Yes, sir.
And did you sign the front and the back?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about it?
No, sir.
The next document I'm going to show you is the court's admonishments and warnings prior to entering a guilty or no contest plea. Did you read and go over both those pages with Mr. Green?
Yes, sir.
There's actually one for each case. Did you go over one for each case?
Yes, sir.
And did you sign it?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about it?
No.
Do you have any questions about any of the documents on either of these cases that you read and went over with Mr. Green?
No, sir.
Well, if you read and went over these with him, I know he explained to you that you have many constitutional rights, including the right to trial by jury. Do you want a jury trial in this case or any of these cases?
No, sir.
Do you want to waive your right to a jury trial and enter into this plea bargain with the state?
Yes, sir.
Then I'll ask you, sir, in cause number CR 18-0208-392, as to paragraph B of that indictment, that second-degree felony offense, are you guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason?
Yes, sir.
And in cause number CR 18-0210-392, as to count 1 in that indictment, that state jail felony offense, are you guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason?
Yes, sir.
I'll hear the evidence in each case.
Your Honor, the state offers Exhibit 1, a copy of the offense report, Exhibit 2, the initial inventory report, Exhibits 3, 4, and 5, supplemental inventory reports.
No objection, Your Honor.
Admitted. And I'll have to ask the state on this assault of a public servant and the attempted assault of the emergency services personnel. Have they been contacted and are they on board with the plea bargain?
Ms. Palmer has contacted everyone necessary in this position.
And they're okay with the plea bargains?
Yes,
Anything else from the state
no,
then?
Your Honor, the state rests with us.
We rest the close, Your Honor.
All right, then, Mr. Gamble, first of all, the court finds that the victims have been contacted and are on board with plea bargains. And in cause number CR 18-0208 of paragraph B of that indictment, Mr. Gamble, based upon your guilty plea and the evidence, the court has enough evidence to find you guilty. However, the court will follow the plea bargain, defer making any finding as to guilt, places you on community supervision for a period of 5 years. In punishing you, the court has considered the indicted and unindicted cases listed on the agreed plea recommendation. You do have 874 days credit and orders to pay your court costs and to abide by all the regular terms and conditions of community supervision. And cause number CR 18-0210-392, based upon your guilty plea and the evidence, the court has enough evidence to find you guilty and does find you guilty of the under 1244B of our penal code of the attempt to commit assault of an EMS person. The court in the sentencing you considers the indicted case listed on the plea paper and sentences you to 365 days in the Henderson County Jail with credit for 365 days and orders you to pay your court costs. And I think that handles everything. And Mr. Gamble, have you ever been on probation before?
Yes, sir.
Did you successfully complete it?
Yes, sir.
Well, you know what it takes then. On this case that you're going to be on probation for, do you
Right.
know how, or do you know what can happen to you if you don't successfully complete it?
Yes, sir.
What can happen?
Pretty much prison time, up to 20 years.
That's right, up to 20 years. That's the downside of a deferred, that if you violate any one term or condition of this community supervision, a motion could be filed, a warrant would be issued for your arrest,
Right.
be put in jail, brought back before the court. And if the court found that you violated even one term or condition, the court could find you guilty, revoke your probation, and sentence you up to 20 years in TDC. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So would you agree with me? It's extremely important you abide by these terms and conditions.
Yes, sir.
And real quick, 1244B, that's punish and convict as a misdemeanor, so I don't have to admonish him on the firearms. All right, Mr. Gamble, then you need to see Mr. Halbert on the judge. Oh, one other thing on the 0210, did you have an opportunity to review this judgment?
Yes, sir.
Was your name, the charge, and the time credit correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Gamble, you need to see the bailiff. Good luck to you, sir. I don't mind at all. You're welcome.